Rob Riddle journeys his way to desert country in southwestern USA. His goal? To find similarities and differences between continents, but he found a lot more. In little lizards that abound here in the blazing heat. Iguanas are big, Gila Monsters are venomous, and Cougars, Bobcats and Bears need sneaking up on. It's a hot and wild time when Rob Riddle takes on the killer instinct as he's raiding Arizona.
I see it, it's just by the window.
Rob is preparing to fly to the USA. It's his first trip, and he's eager to get his bare, leather-soled feet onto the baking soil of an Arizona desert. Enjoy the pampering, Rob.
This is service with a smile.
Because here, it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. He's here to hunt the local reptiles and mammals. That is, if he can take his eyes off the scenery.
I've seen this scene before, but only in the movies. In the cowboy movies when I was a kid. Never thought I'd ever be here, but now I'm here. Even though it looks quite similar to an Australian desert, I'm going to see how different it is.
And almost immediately, Rob senses a very different place for animals to exist. He notices how hard the ground can be when it's solid rock, and decides that here, lizards would hide in the cracks of rocks. His sharp eye is soon attracted to a local.
Even though North America has only 1/4 of the species of lizards Australia has, they're more prolific and they are very similar except for a few things. The geckos look identical except for the fact here they've got eyelids. In Australia, geckos don't have eyelids. They have to lick their eye to clean it. Many of the other lizards also look similar to Australian lizards, but they're different.
All geckos have well-developed sight and hearing, but this Aussie gecko's lower eyelids are fused shut to form a transparent covering over the eye like a diving mask. Specks of dirt and dust which stick to the covering are simply licked off.
This whiptail lizard looks just like an Australian skink, except it's got the back legs of a dragon lizard, and he's the fastest lizard I've seen around here. The reason is, if I put his back leg up, you'll see it goes right up to his eye. Indication of speed in lizards. He also has the skin texture of a monitor lizard. So it looks like a combination of all three. This desert spiny lizard has all the characteristics of an Australian dragon lizard. This is definitely an agam. Right body shape, legs, head shape. Now, there's only one dragon lizard in Australia that can regrow its tail. And it's the water dragon. And this one has lost part of its tail and is regrowing it. None of the desert dragons can.
As Australian water dragons are often forced to gather together along rivers, they've become quite social animals. Males will often tolerate each other, and they're also quite tolerant of human beings when they grow older.
Another thing, he has femoral paws like dragon lizards in Australia do. And he has brilliant colours on his belly. In Australia, most of the dragon lizards have all their colour on their back. Even though all the North American lizards appear quite similar to the Australian lizards, they're quite different. Eyelids for the gecko, skin like a monitor lizard for the skink-looking lizard, and the dragon lizard here drops his tail and regrows it again. Colours on its belly. Amazing little creatures. So prolific too.
Living among these rocks and boulders are what could be described as the plankton of the area, supplying many with a meal, and Rob's on the trail.
A bloke could go hungry chasing one of these. The thing is, they camouflage so well.
Rob's determined to catch what successful and healthy lizards and others catch every day. Then he'll be able to find out just how the locals dine.
Finally! Finally. Lots of insects. Is why there's lots of lizards out here. I wonder if they taste just as good as those ones from Australia. I reckon they taste better. Not bad.
But there's plenty of ground to cover, as Rob well knows. Australia is almost the same size as the USA in area and wants to see as much as he can. He compares the local horned lizards with the Australian thorny devil.
Yeah.
Then he comes up against this desert's most infamous resident, the rattlesnake.
You can see that's where he lives.
He does a little home wrecking to investigate the elusive but prolific pack rat. Then he climbs high to discover a desert can be a green place with ice and water, and is hot on the trail of a pig when he stumbles across a family of golden cougars. Not far from them, Rob finds a black bear sunning itself, and to complete the colour feast, has a very close encounter with a green iguana. Then it's less threatening animals in the form of prairie dogs. And then Rob's prize catch of the trip, the venomous Gila monster. Next up, Rob marvels at how the Grand Canyon is formed, and later he tries an Aussie bush trick to catch an American desert snake.
When you explore the American deserts, you have to include the canyon areas like this behind me. And North America has the largest canyon in the world, and it's the Grand Canyon, which is way over there somewhere.
But even this area shows similar geological signs that made the Grand Canyon. The fact is that it's not definitely known how the Grand Canyon was formed. It can be estimated, though, that it took a combination of processes to create the formations we see today. The most powerful forces are, of course, water, ice, and wind erosion. Other contributing forces include the Colorado River, volcanism, or the effects of volcanoes, and even continental drift. Robbie says we often look at scenes like this and not realise all the processes are still going on, still wearing and shaping the land. So how old is it? Again, approximations of age were made by the thickness of strata, which indicated many geologic ages. This all equaled multi-hundreds of millions of years, with the deepest rock estimated at over 1 billion years old. Don't like quoting approximations. So research scientists are now conducting a project to test the ages of these magnificent rocks by modern and accurate radioactive isotope dating methods. Rob will get back to you with the findings, eventually, but he says it'll be here for millions of years more, for many generations to enjoy. For now, Rob's on the trail of something a little smaller, but nonetheless important. It's almost a familiar face for Rob.
I almost didn't see it. But it's right where I'd expect to find one, near an ant nest. It's called a horned lizard. Tremendously well camouflaged. And he is very, very similar to a little lizard we have in Australia called a thorny devil. It also eats ants, and only ants.
This is Australia's Moloch horridus, or the thorny devil. He also uses very effective camouflage to look like the local thorny bushes. Like his American cousin, he lives in a very tough world of heat, rocks and predators. A lizard of this size makes good eating for many other species, but the spikes covering the body make him a lot less appetizing. With tail held high and its spiky appearance, the thorny devil could easily be mistaken for a broken branch or a piece of rough vegetation. And he can sit here all day feasting on his favourite food, which delivers itself.
Similarities, they're there. Not quite the same. Ours looks like a prickle bush. This one here, he's got horns on his head and he's got spikes around his side. So he's like a crossbreed between an Australian bearded dragon and our thorny devil. Amazing. He really looks like something out of the Cretaceous period with these horns, and they're hard. Got a very, very fat little tail too, so I think, like other lizards, he's storing food in his tail for hard times. Look at that, eh? He sits down and flattens out. Oh, he's quite mobile too, look at him go. He's faster than I thought he would be. Go again, shoot! The thorny devil Australia walks very slowly. This one, he's got a bit of speed on his side. Hey. He also relies on camouflage. I wouldn't be surprised if he can change his colours fairly drastically also. And again, I reckon he is a dragon family lizard too. I've upset them ants now, they're getting stuck into him and me. They can bite too, the little fellows. Hey. See you later, mate. What a little beauty.
The temperature is well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit this day, and this land is not known for its shade. But surprisingly, it is known for its vegetation, and some of this vegetation has an amazing lineage.
I'm standing in a circle of creosote bush. Yes, I said bush, because this is actually one bush. It's one of the oldest living organisms on the earth, and it's got a very strange way of achieving this age. It's because it starts off as a single plant, and about 100 years later this plant dies off, but it sends out shoots, which are actually clones of itself. And therefore it grows into a circle away from the centre. And it grows at about a rate of 500 years for every metre. So this bush is only young. It's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 years old. Over here, we've got a line of bushes. As the circle gets larger and larger, it becomes obscure and actually creates lines. So I can pace out how old this bush is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this particular line of bushes could be 2,000 years old. And some of these lines in the desert are so long, they indicate an age of around 11,500 years, and that's old.
Next on Killer Instinct, Rob digs to run with the pack and convinces a rattlesnake to stay a while and socialise. Bare feet withstanding the scorched earth, Rob remarked that so many big cities here in the States and around the world experience crowding, but marvels at how little of this vast planet we really live in. Rob spots another little lizard which doesn't want to hang around and chat. Is he running from Rob? Or was something else trying to find some shade?
Maybe that's why he ran away. Found a nice little critter in here, but how am I going to get you out? Maybe I can see the other end just down here. If I poke in there, just maybe he'll come out. Go on. Look, haha. See? It wasn't me. I've heard a lot of people get bitten by rattlesnakes by grabbing them by the tail like I'm just doing now. And the reason is, if you see a tail hanging out of a rock from a rattlesnake, his head's generally by the tail. But with this one here, I've dragged it out and it's going back into its hole. And I'm not pulling him out. So I know exactly where the head is at all times. He thinks he's getting away, but he's not. Generally, when they curl up in there, their head is by their tail. Come over here, mate. Now go away. He wants to go home.
As soon as the snake got a little more light on him, Rob had enough information to be able to tell what type of rattler it is.
From what I know about this Grand Canyon area, this just has to be the Grand Canyon rattlesnake. Another name is called a pink rattlesnake because sometimes it takes on the same colour as the earth. I can see a bit of pink on the side of him here. Before he goes away, I'll pull him out again. Don't want to annoy him too much. You can see that's where he lives. He just keeps keeps going back into it. He's probably wondering what the hell pulled him out of the ground. Scientifically, it's known as Crotalus viridis abyssus, and it can only be found in the Grand Canyon and surrounding areas. In fact, the Grand Canyon is so big and been here so long that it creates its own unique habitat, not just for snakes, but for other animals also. It's a hot day, mate. I'll leave you to it.
As the sun climbs higher, the animals get a little scarcer. Looks like the only animal silly enough to wander about in this blazing noonday sun is Rob. But he soon finds the structure of a successful creature here in the desert region.
There's no prizes for guessing what this is. I found a rattlesnake, but I haven't got the pack rat yet. Hopefully here I'm going to follow his tunnel back in. What I've noticed is they just don't use sticks and thorns. This one's got bones, it's got bullet shells, and it's even got a soul. But if I follow him back in, there's a good chance. Still full of thorns, look at that. Just have to move position so I can dig it up.
Rob has seen many of these pack rat nests, but has not as yet seen any of the homeowners. Pack rats are in fact wood rats, and are also known as trade rats, because they collect various objects and bits of material to build their nests.
It's going right back. It's going right back in under the ledge here.
They're really fond of small, bright or shiny objects and will decorate their elaborate nests with them. Rob's beginning to think the objects were placed at the entrance to distract him while they ran to hide.
They are sneaky little devils, they are. Obviously, I'm not going to get this one either. He goes right in under that rocky ledge. I suppose that's why they're still around. They don't make it easy for the predator. Unreal. A long way in that goes. Have to find another one, easier one.
After the break, Rob Breddle decides to cool his heels and climb high. Later comes face to face with mountain lions. Deserts in the US aren't all dust and craggy rocks though. Rob wanted to see the streams and islands of green and life that also makes up the high desert's ecosystem.
Look at that. Come on, mate. Yes. Here I am at 8,000 feet and I found a jumping spider. I don't know what kind it is, but it's definitely a little jumping spider. Black one with an orange bottom. But as I was walking along, I noticed a lot of insects up in this alpine meadow. So there's not much wonder, but he's out cruising around. But jumping spiders do cruise in the daytime. They're actually a daytime spider, where most spiders come out at night.
Life here is in abundance.
If you want to believe how close we are to the desert, I caught a horned lizard almost identical to this one, a few thousand feet down there in the hot, dry country. Not a little beauty. Out you go.
The remnants of ice at this altitude are an unexpected welcome relief to Rob's desert-scorched bare feet.
If you get high enough in the desert, it will create moisture, like this, and that will give you cool green islands in a hot, parched land.
As Rob climbs higher, the air cools, and trees and other vegetation thicken. He knows he's going to find mammals up here. The conifers provide a typical North American landscape, part of a green chain of mighty timbers known as the Great American Coniferous Forest.
One of the most important trees in these green islands in the sky is the ponderosa pine, like this one here.
The ponderosa pine, also called the western yellow, is one of the most widely distributed pines in western North America.
And there's a couple of little critters that rely on the ponderosa pine that tell us that the Grand Canyon just over there split this forest in halves many, many, many years ago.
A major source of timber, the ponderosa pine forests are also important as wildlife habitat and for recreational use, although this area is seldom trod by tourists. There's a good reason, however, why Rob's not finding his little critters.
What makes these little fellows so hard to find is they're about this big, with a tail about that long, and they live right up the top of these trees. And there's a few billion trees in this forest.
And he may never see one of these. The A bear or tassel-eared squirrel rarely comes down from the high canopy. All year round, bear squirrels rely on the ponderosa pine as a source of food. They eat most of the things the trees make. Inner bark, buds, flowers and seeds all go to sustain them. Another type, kaibab squirrels, also call the ponderosa pine home and are recognised by their white plumy tails. They don't hibernate or store food for winter because, like the bear, they live on the tree that feeds them. Rob continues to climb high and next up confronts mountain lions, black bears and big green iguanas. Later, he searches for and finds the venomous Gila monster. High above the dry Arizona plain, Rob revels in this oasis.
Looks like some tracks here, looks like a small pig. If there's a chance I'm going to find other animals other than reptiles, this is where it'll be, where there's water.
Even though Rob is in Arizona desert, the temperature here has dropped because he climbed to over 8,000 feet. And water is the main gift that exists, precious to life, and the key to the area's biodiversity.
The lifeblood of the desert. Little trickling streams. I tell you what, after wandering out there for a while, this is beautiful. Who'd have thought? Green grass in the middle of a desert. All it takes is water.
Now he treads more quietly. This time he's not avoiding rattlers, but some infamous mammals that call this place home. Plenty of research is done in this area, so the local animals seem to be a little more tolerant of visitors. Still, Rob has to stay on his guard and upwind to avoid too close an encounter.
Another one of the larger dangerous animals you might encounter in the North American wilds is the cougar or mountain lion. Now they're what I call one of the smallest of the well-known big cats. But when you're this close, they're not too small. But again, we're not high on their list of favourite foods. And another important thing is you don't run from these animals. If you run, that triggers an attack response. You're better off standing up and waving your arms around, but I'm just going to stay real still.
The oasis of high desert green also features a huge array of gentler, eye-catching fauna, and Rob's fascinated with it all.
What I've snuck up on here is what I call the biggest of the little cats, the North American bobcat. And it's doing quite well out here in the desert, and that's because of all those little mammals that live out here.
Attempting to hide too many traces of his scent, Rob follows the little streams to track down more life.
Unique butterfly. In Australia it's called a wanderer. Over here it's called a monarch. This butterfly migrates thousands of miles between summer and winter. And they reckon they got to Australia by flying over the Pacific. 12,000 miles. And they didn't have a jumbo. Off you go, mate.
But just a butterfly's flit away is a feared and often misunderstood master of this region. Rob and the black bear are about to meet up.
When you're walking around in the Australian bush, you only have to worry about stepping on snakes and if you're in the north swimming with crocodiles. Here in North America, we've got a few other animals to contend with, and one of them is the black bear. Lucky for us, they're omnivorous. I'm not high on the list of its diet items. If you are confronted with one, you just back off slowly.
Widely distributed through North America, The black bear occurs from the east to the west coast, as far north as Alaska and as far south as Mexico. Continuing his stealthy low-tech profile on his hands and knees, Rob soon comes across something bright green crawling amongst the bright green foliage. He tracks the emerald-coloured shape. Rob's a lizard geek, and he's got a treat waiting for him.
This magnificent-looking reptile can also be found in the North American deserts, but only at the very south. The green iguana. Now, very much like the Australian monitor lizard in size, texture, different shaped head. And our monitors don't have those spikes on its back. This looks really prehistoric. The main difference, this is strictly vegetarian, where the monitor of Australia is strictly a carnivore.
The locals seem to be warming to this barefoot intruder.
I've got another one coming down from the tree. Annoyed him a bit. Wow, look at that, eh? Oh, they can also drop their tail and regrow it. Monitor lizards can't. What a beauty, eh? What a beauty, eh? Hey, what a beauty. Oh, he didn't like that.
Full-grown iguanas are usually between 4 and 6 feet in length, but have been known to grow up to 7 feet. Their tail can make up about half their body length and can be whipped in the air as a defence mechanism, like the Australian parenti.
Yeah, come on. Come on, Chucky. Come on, Chucky, baby. He's coming. He's coming.
Coming next, Rob applies a little Aussie know-how to catch a lizard with a very American name, Chuckwalla.
Gotcha.
Rob agrees this desert is more diverse than he had first thought. Australian deserts can be very flat and featureless, but here variety abounds if you know where to look. Rob's been called a bush detective on more than one occasion, and he enjoys employing those skills in, to him, foreign land. This is a perfect place for such investigative work. Lots of rocks, lots of places for creatures to hide.
What's that here? This is a part of what I'm looking for. It's the scat or droppings of a chuckwalla. I'm in prime chuckwalla country here. Boulders with cracks. The chuckwalla is the North American desert's second largest lizard, and there are two ways of finding them. If you come out early enough in the morning, you can see them sitting on rocks, sunning themselves. If you sneak up, they'll dive down a crack. Of course, the other way, when it gets a bit hotter, they'll be hiding. So you look for their scats. And once you find the droppings, you have to really search hard around those rocks, because there's got to be one living here. That's the sign. So I'll see if I can find one. Some more fresher stuff over there and a nice crack. They're much fresher. A nice crack there. Aha! Jackpot. Just what I've been looking for. There's one down in here. And he doesn't look too difficult to get either, because that's a problem out here. There's a lot of them here. They can get in inaccessible places. Now, look at him wedged in there. What they do is they sit up on the rocks. When they see you coming, they dive straight down, head down, butt up. Then they puff themselves up and wedge themselves between those rocks. Makes it very difficult to get them out. And that's why they're so successful. There's so many cracks in those rocks. Yeah, how am I going to get you out now?
Will a simple Aussie trick fool a smart Yank?
What I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hat down here to give him somewhere darker to run, and then I'll gently annoy him from this side, and he should go into the darker bit. Let it fit in? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, mate. Come on. Choo-choo-choo. Choo-choo-choo. Come on. Come on, yes. Oh, he thinks he's really safe there. I mean, it's not easy. They take a while. Come on, yeah, check, walla, 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 walla. Yeah, come on. Come on, Chucky. Come on, Chucky, baby. He's coming. He's coming. Yeah, Chucky, baby. Yes, look at that. Gotcha. Well, look at that, eh?
And from an Aussie to a Yank.
G'day. Amazing. Well, my first chuckwalla. And just looking at him, he definitely looks very much like a dragon lizard from Australia. In fact, very similar looking to a bearded dragon, except he's got no beard. Same flat look, body shape, and quite colourful too. Some bearded dragons get very red too.
Back in Australia, on Rob's home turf, the lizards may seem a little easier to catch.
Yes! Gotcha! What I've got here is one of Australia's bigger dragons. This one's called a bearded dragon. Obvious reasons, he's got a beard under his chin. Also, it's the only dragon that flattens himself right out. He can flatten out a bit like a turtle, and he's covered in spikes. Probably makes him less appetizing, part of his defense mechanism.
Back in the USA.
Obviously, the big fat tail means that during the good times, he fattens up, and that will hold him through the times when it's bad. But a lot of lizards do that. Like the dragon lizard of Australia, he has these femoral paws on his legs, and many of the dragon species in Australia are distinguished by how many they have or don't have. Those little holes, those things along his legs there, femoral paws. Looking at his teeth also, they look like the dragon lizards of Australia. They're fused. Where in the Iguana family, they're actually not. They're actually single teeth. And the array of teeth tell me he's also basically a plant eater. Very even teeth. He probably eats insects too, but basically a herbivore. Nice, big, fat, wide body, just like a bearded dragon without the spikes. Thick tail, food store for when times are tough, fattens up there. Muscular legs, so he's not real long in the legs, but he's pretty fast. It tells me he's quite fast. If I put that leg up, it'll go up to his front leg, you'll notice. So it makes him into one of the faster lizards category. Very sharp, hooky claws, clambering over the rocks. Well adapted to his environment. There's no doubt about that. Blackhead, don't know why, but a lot of the lizards that live in rocks do have a blackhead. They have a black-headed monitor in Australia, lives in the rocks. Things like that, but yeah. Apparently very variable in colour too. In different mountains you get different colour variations. What a beauty. Okay, buddy, off you go.
Rob next encounters some of the more social members of the squirrel family. Prairie dogs, and they've already noticed Rob approaching. Out goes the warning to all.
I'm on the edge of a prairie dog mound. And you can hear that one. He's warning everyone else to put their heads down. That's why there's so many of them. They're very alert.
A prairie dog's bark-like call is one of the most sophisticated of all natural animal languages. They have different warning sounds for hawks, owls, eagles, coyotes and snakes. Like Rob says, they survive by living to fight another day. Next up on Killer Instinct, Rob manages to keep up with the tourists and finds his prized and very venomous lizard, the Gila Monster. The green desert continues with its majestic saguaro cactus, the state flower of Arizona, dotting and often dominating the landscape. But Rob's in for yet more surprises.
here is something you don't expect to find in a desert. A tortoise. This is the desert tortoise. And if you look under his belly here, really concave, that tells me it's a male. And that's different to the ones in Australia. We don't have land tortoises, but we've got ones that live in the water. And if they've got a long tail, they're a male. This has got a short tail. So if I was in Australia, that's female, but it's not. That allows him to come up on the female's back and mate with her. He's got a strange bit of a hooky shell here, so he can pull his head back in behind it. And I think it might be just a bumper bar. It's probably something he uses to let the female know he's around. These sort of tortoises often butt the female to let her know he wants to. So that could have something to do with that, bashing into her back. I don't know, but that's what I think. Anyway, off you go.
There was still one reptile Rob hadn't seen here, and he was desperate to get his hands on one before the trip was over. He did a lot of walking and searching, and his persistence was rewarded.
If there's one thing I've really noticed here in the North American deserts, even though when it comes to lizards species-wise, they don't have anywhere near the species we have in Australia, there's a lot more lizards per hectare. There's just tracks everywhere in here. And one of the most treasured lizards of North America would have to be this one here, the Gila monster. To even touch one, you have to have special permission. To me, this particular lizard actually looks like a crossbreed between an Australian shingleback lizard and a blue-tongue lizard, except for its feet and hands and legs. They're a bit longer, and he's got specialised claws for digging. Now, this is a very special lizard for two reasons in North America. It's not only North America's largest lizards, it's one of two of the world's poisonous lizards. And they only exist here in North America, the other one in Mexico. The venom glands also are situated in its bottom jaw. And apparently the venom travels up grooves on the bottom teeth. The tongue's rather flat like a blue-tongue lizard's, but it's got a forky end like a snake. It's got a forked tongue on the end. And I understand they're a real predator. And you can see why. These long claws for digging out rats and things. They also go into the pack rat nests and eat the young quite readily. We won't bother him too much. Put him back where he was. Off you go, mate.
Rob was now satisfied. He got to play with his Gila monster and had experienced the differences in two deserts on two continents.
About the only similarities between a North American desert and an Australian desert is they're both hot and dry. Other than that, they're quite different. I've played with chuckwallers. Yes, look at that. Gotcha. Seen mountain lions, bobcats, and many different kinds of snakes. I'm Rob Brettle, and thanks for joining me on Killer Instinct.